Hi everyone, we are coming to you from Convene Times Square in New York City, where we have just finished a fantastic day of NEDAS 2018. My name is Steve Multer, and I'm joined today by one of the most popular people that we had here, Josh Snowhorn, one of our great keynoters and a friend of all, kind of. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this as well.
That's my pleasure. I had a great time today.
So you're Chief Strategy Officer of EdgeMicro. One of my favorite things, Data Economy Magazine just named you one of its most influential thought leaders in the edge computing industry, which I thought was really fantastic.
I did too.
On the way into this, you really are one of the most respected executives today in data center for so many different reasons. I think it's really about your groundbreaking work in creating this interconnection infrastructure that is so fundamental today to building the internet that we all depend on. And I want to ask you a whole lot about that. Because we've just come out of this meeting, I want to ask you first kind of about trends. What have you been seeing lately? What is surprising you? And what is exciting you from your own personal perspective?
Yeah, it's been interesting because around my career I've built these big giant mega data centers, big internet exchanges that are the hubs and spokes of the internet, to giant hyperscale cloud sites and big enterprise data centers dealing with seismic processing for oil and gas, or the Chicago Mercantile Exchange data center at my last company, which was 95% of the world's futures trades. It's 4 times the volume of the New York Stock Exchange is traded on this thing. So those are big core plays, and what's interesting is as everything has moved to the core, you're now starting to see a shift out to the edge as applications, services, and lower latency and augmented reality, video gaming, all these different trends are driving that farther and farther out. So that's very exciting to me. It's really a sea change in the internet.
What does it mean in terms of technology innovation? Because we always talk about wireless, and wireless is great, but we can't build wireless without wireline capability. It's all got to be connected back. How does that affect what's happening in edge today?
Well, it's interesting. I describe it as kind of a layer cake. If you take the base of the cake, that's going to be the hyperscale cloud guys. Okay. The next layer is Equinix and CoreSite and the big internet exchanges, the hubs and spokes, the airports of the internet. If you follow me along that, the next layer would be maybe a metro data center or a central office or a wireless MITSO. The next layer, well, that's the icing, and that's all the backbones that connect all of that together because they're all integral. And the edge and what we're doing at EdgeMicro are kind of the sprinkles on top of that. They all feed into each other. It's all accretive in one ecosystem that doesn't change, but it's all wired and wireless really converging together.
How do you get different, you work with so many different people. Let me come at that a different way. You work with so many different people in so many different arenas. How do you get everybody to want to work together and cooperate together for the greater good of the industry?
That's that chicken before the egg has existed from day one.
From day one, I would assume, right?
It has. It's been interesting in the you can call them the net heads and the bell heads. And I had eradicated those phrases from my mind because I really hadn't experienced it in a long time. But what's happened now is that on the mobility side, you still have some very bellhead-focused individuals. Not in a bad way. They're just very much, this is the path we're taking. It's methodical and slow and careful, and we're going to do the right thing the way we feel it should be done. It doesn't necessarily align with the nethead mentality, which is go, go, go as fast as you can. Commoditization of IP, whatever, doesn't matter. How do we deliver those bits as fast as possible? How do we interconnect at those core points and make all that happen? The peering world, which is really a small circle of a few hundred people making things happen in that side. What I'm trying to drive is the integration of that mobile economy and to a certain degree wireline and transport focused and old school central offices into a nethead mentality and pull that together at the edge. That's the big driver, and it's a difficult thing to do.
It's an interesting challenge for you. I mean, there are so many brilliant legacy people out there. We had a number of them here in the meeting with us today. We had 300 great collective minds. Some of them are more legacy thinkers. Some of them are more next generation and new generation thinkers. Do you see yourself as a bridge between the way these people operate with one another?
Oh yeah, I've done that my whole career. I founded the Global Peering Forum 14 years ago, which was an interesting meeting. There were a lot of different internet exchanges having separate peering forums and meetings, and it was creating this schism in the community because people had to choose which one to go to. They were all important, but which one had the critical mass? So I actually got together with Jay Adelson, who was the founder of Equinix at the time. He was still there. M6, DKIX, and then Lynx came in a little bit later. And you had the biggest internet exchanges getting together as sort of an all-for-one, one-for-all kind of mentality and creating the Global Peering Forum. I'm still on the board of directors of that. I'm very proud of that it's gone on. Many meetings don't continue that long, especially in that world. So my role has always been to be sort of a social engineer, facilitating people getting together. And if I can do that and create a change in the internet ecosystem by pushing it to the edge, that's mission accomplished.
Tell me about the connection between that and NEDAS and what we're doing here today, why you wanted to be a part of it. I know some of that has to do with personal relationships and long-term associations, but what excited you about today's meeting and what did you want to get accomplished while you were here?
Well, wireless is, and small cell and DAS are actually driving things farther out to the edge and pulling that back to, decoupling it from towers, which is one piece, but then maybe pulling it back to the hubs and spokes that we're trying to create. So, if you get to a market that's completely saturated with DAS and small cell infrastructure on top of the classic wireline, and we're serving that content with all the companies within us, and it's the biggest CDNs and the biggest cloud companies and the social media and autonomous vehicle companies and everything you could imagine all there, then that certainly is, again, mission accomplished by pulling things together. It's a balance between eyeballs and content, and that wireless side represents a mass of eyeballs being able to pull into us.
All right, so I'm going to end with a question that will sort of put you on the spot just a little bit. I feel like even the best in the industry, which I think there's no doubt that you are, everybody is always learning something new. Tell me one thing that you actually learned today, whether it was inside that room or in conversation with somebody that you met out front, or maybe a long-term associate.
Well, it's really fun getting on panels or listening to panels or having idle chatter outside of the conference. But I actually got to listen to a panel where you had Akamai, and Facebook, who are integral into our plans. But hearing their perspective in front of an audience and being prodded by a moderator, I got some more insight into things they're doing, which helps kind of guide my strategy. And I'm Chief Strategy Officer of EdgeMicro. I have to always think, many steps ahead, or we're going to lose the game.
Sure.
So by getting that information, that was very helpful.
And Jezebel did an amazing job of doing that. She asked a lot of questions that surprised me as well.
Absolutely. And they gave me a nice mention on the stage, so I like that too. That was
you like
good.
that little call out? That kind of works for you?
Always helpful.
Such a pleasure to be able to meet and to talk with you today. Thank you for taking time after a long day to do this with us as well. We just so appreciate you being a part of this meeting.
My pleasure. Look forward to doing it again.
All right. And thanks so much to all of you for watching.